Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. Happy what's today? What's today? Um Friday. Oh, today's Friday. Happy Friday. It's so much going on, y'all. I had to look. Like with the new year and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, like I got my days mixed up. Happy Friday. Good evening. If this is your first time watching me live, my name is Terry Alford. I'm known as the Women's Wealth Strategist. I specialize in helping business owners build wealth and financial freedom so that we can live, lead, and leave multi-million dollar legacies. Now, if you can hear me, put a I can hear you in the comment section, okay? Because as I mentioned last night, sometimes I'll think that you all can hear me, and then all of a sudden, like there's no sound. So I want to make sure that you can hear me. Put a I can hear you in the comment section. I'm going to try to find myself on my phone on Facebook to see if I can hear me. Okay, Ashley loved my video. Hey, Ashley. Good evening, Queen. Let me see. I just today. Okay, good. So I can hear me. Okay, so good. I can hear me. So tonight I'm going to actually do another live, kind of like what I did last night. So periodically throughout the year, I always do a 21-day live challenge once a quarter. And so I'm starting off this quarter with the 21-day live challenge because last month it just was not happening. For those of you who have been watching me, you know I love doing my 21-day live challenge in December, but it just wasn't happening. So I said, okay, God, since my voice keeps going out, I'll just wait until January. And so here we are in January. I'm trying to get this little flip right. See, this is why you gotta keep playing with it till you get it right. Okay, I think that's all right. Anyway, I thank y'all for watching my live. Now, some of you didn't like anything, you didn't comment, but I know that y'all watched it because y'all are sending me DMs, screenshots, and all that stuff. So thank you for watching my live. For those of you who shared my live on last night, thank you very much. Tonight, we're going to speak about selling for a profit being a biblical principle, because on last night we talked about investing being a biblical principle, and y'all liked it so much I said, you know what, I'm gonna give you an encore. Y'all like that so much, I'm gonna give you another one tonight, because investing is a biblical principle. We should be investing. And last night I spoke about the parable of the talents. So if you did not catch yesterday's live, I encourage you to go through my Facebook page, or you can go to my YouTube channel and look for Investing is a Biblical Principle. Day one of my 2025 21-day live challenge. Okay. So let's see. Francis is watching. Hi, Francis. Good evening. Thank you so much for watching. Yes, selling for profit is a biblical principle. Many times we hear, to whom much is given, much is required. And we, especially those of us who have big hearts and are Christians, we convince ourselves that we're supposed to do a lot for free, and we're supposed to give away a lot for free. And we get nervous about selling. For some people, selling puts a bad taste in their mouth. And I want to encourage you on tonight to know that selling is a biblical principle. Like, God smiles when we are selling the right way, when we're selling for the right reason, when we're selling the right things to the right people. Like, that actually makes God smile. So I don't want you to think in 2025 that you are going to be a successful business owner and not focus on sales. No, of course you got to focus on sales. I actually have a sales framework, and it's to teach business owners how to sell more without coming across salesy. I think I'm pretty good at it. To be honest, I've actually learned I'm darn good at it, because in my industry, it's uncommon to be a woman of color, a young woman of color, who has built a business and is building a company in which I've never had to buy a lead. Never have bought a lead. And I have sales. I make sales consistently every week. And I'm excited to make the sales. And I know that the work that I do is it's God's work. I know it's God's work. Hey, Miss Dorothy Nail, I see that you're watching. Shout out to you, Miss Dorothy Nail. Don't forget, Miss Dorothy Nail. Dang, I'm live. I don't want to say too much. Don't forget tomorrow to meet me for lunch, Miss Dorothy Nail. Look at the text message. I want to see you tomorrow. If you feel like coming out, I want to see you for lunch tomorrow. Okay. I'm just gonna put that plug there. It's a private lunch. I can't tell y'all where we're gonna be, but certain people could be at this private lunch on tomorrow. And Miss Dorothy Nail, you have a special invitation. All right, so yes, I was speaking about selling for a profit being a biblical principle, and I love to teach people how to sell without coming across salesy. Like that's what some people book me for when I get booked to speak at events. Sometimes I'm speaking about finance. Sometimes um, I'm speaking about business principles, and sometimes I'm booked to actually do a training or um, I'll say a training or a workshop on sales because I actually have been good in sales for a long time. Like before I even knew that I needed to have a sales framework, I was selling. Like I was selling as one of the top salespeople for Men's Warehouse. I was a college student. I was kicking butt within the region. I was selling with the insurance company that I used to work with. I got all types of awards and trophies and rings and all of that. I've been good at sales. And for those of you who don't like sales or you feel uncomfortable with sales, I hope after you watch this video, even if you're watching the replay, I hope that you feel better about making sales in 2025 because selling for a profit is a biblical principle. Good evening, Ebony. I'm glad to see that you're watching. So I am going to use a story to help show you that selling for a profit is decent and in order. You don't have to feel like you're doing a disservice. You don't have to feel like it's ungodly, right? It's not Christian like for you to be focused on sales. Okay. So I am going to use a story from 2 Kings chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. Now, this is the new life version, new life version. Okay, new living translation. Okay, and I'm using different translations because I want to make sure that there is no question about what I'm reading in terms of what does it mean. I want to make sure that the information is so easy that even if your 7-year-old is walking by and they hear my voice because you watch my lives or you're watching the replay, they can understand what I'm saying. So I'm going to tell you this story. This story is about a guy named Elisha. Okay. Elisha was a prophet in this chapter of the Bible, which is 2 Kings. And so I'm just going to read it the way it is on my screen. And then we're going to break it down so you can see that selling for a profit where you make more money than what you spent is a biblical principle. Like it's decent and in order. Okay. So I'm going to read. It says, now the wife of the son of one of the men who tell what will happen in the future cried out to Elisha, your servant, my husband, is dead. You know that your servant honored the Lord with fear, but the man to whom he owed money has come to take my children to make them serve him. Y'all, that's a lot to unpack in the first verse. So I'm going to unpack the first verse just a little bit to make sure y'all didn't miss anything. And then I'm going to read the whole story. So there's a woman who is a widow and her dead husband owes a man some money and she don't have the money to pay this man. And this man is trying to come take her children. All of that's in the first verse. Okay. So she goes to Elisha and Elisha says to her, what can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in your house? That's what he says. Okay. That's what he asked her. What can I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? And the woman said, Your woman servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. Then he said, go around and get the jars from all of your neighbors. Get empty jars, many of them. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your sons. Pour the oil into all these jars and set aside each one that is full. So she went from him and she shut the door behind her and her sons. And they took the jars to her and she poured. When the jars were full, she said to her son, bring me another jar. And he said to her, there is not one jar left. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God. And he said, go and sell the oil and pay what you owe, and you and your sons can live on the rest. Thank you, Ebony. Ebony put 2 Kings 4, verses 1 through 7. Yes, yes, yes. That's what we're talking about on tonight. So, what does that say to you? Like, if this is your first time hearing this story, I want to know, like, what does that story say to you? What stood out to you? Put it in the comment section. I'll tell you what stood out to me was, the first thing was, the woman cried out to the man. She's a widow. This man is getting ready to take her children. She's like, look, man, I need some help. I need you to help me right now. And he's like, well, what do you have in your house? What do you have in the house? Notice he didn't focus on what she don't have. He didn't ask her, what does she need more of? He didn't ask her to focus on her lack. He said, what do you have in your house? So first he had to assume that she had something. That right there, that's a word for somebody right there. You got something to sell. You got something that you can make a profit with. You got what do you have in your house? What do you have in your house? Let's start there. So we're not going to focus on all the bad things. We're going to focus on what you have. We're going to take inventory of what you have. And the woman said, all I have is a jar of oil. Now, there are different translations of that story. But the woman said, all I have is a jar of oil. Some translations say, all I have is a little jar of oil. This all look, man, this all I got. This it. That's all I got. He said, so, okay, you got something. You have something. You got something to work with. Somebody put in the comment section, I have something to work with. I have something to work with. What's up, new niece? How are you, Queen Nunu? Happy New Year. Let's see. Iceland, good evening. Thank you for watching. Y'all are coming through tonight. Y'all like my late night lives, huh? Looks like I should do more lives in the evening because y'all like it here. Ebony said, this is the third time I've heard this story used in less than 24 hours. Wow. To me, God is saying, what do you have is enough to live off of. That part. I have something to work with. Thank you, Nunice. I have something to work with. If you believe you got something to work with, then you should put that in the comment section. Like, go ahead and affirm that I have something to work with. Whether you're watching this on LinkedIn, you're watching it on YouTube, you're watching the replay. Even if you're watching the replay, type hashtag replay in the comment section. I want to know that you're watching, because after you watch it, like, I won't know it after I'm live. Like, there's no notification that's saying like, so-and-so watch your replay. But I know y'all are watching, because even last night video got over 500 views. I want you to put in the comment section if you believe you have something to work with. She said, all I have is a jar of oil. Elisha said, oh, okay, well, you got something to work with. So he didn't say, oh, man, all you got is one jar of oil. That's it. What else you got? He said, you know what? We're going to take what you have to work with, and God is going to multiply that thing. And that's what he did. So he said, I want you to go to your neighbors. and I want you to get the jars from all your neighbors, as many as you can, and fill up all the jars with that 1 jar of oil. So, depending on the translation, it says that the sons and the mom, single moms check in. Any single moms listening? Any single moms listening? You may want to watch this from the beginning and put this as something you want to watch throughout the year. When you get discouraged and you say, I have nothing, you singing Whitney Houston, I have nothing. That's a lie. You do have something. What do you have to work with? Okay. So this is a single mom. She's a widow. And she's like, all I have is this oil. So the prophet tells her to go to the neighbors and get all the jars. So they get the jars. And he said, use this 1 oil to fill all the jars, like all the big pots. Now I want you to think about this. Can you imagine what type of faith it took for a woman to say, all I have is a jar of oil, and this man is telling me to get all these big vases? Where the rest of the oil is going to come? Where's the rest of the oil going to come from? Now she may thought of that, but that part ain't in here. We don't read about the mind games that was going on inside her head. We don't read about the mental acrobatics that was happening where she's getting these jars and she's probably thinking like, my neighbor's gonna think I'm crazy. Like, what did she say to the neighbors in order for them to actually give her their empty pots? What did she say? I wonder, what did she say? Did she say, I'm going to have a miracle happen? There's going to be a miracle that's going to happen. Or did she say, look, I don't know how this thing is going to work out. All I know is that the man of God told me to get some pots, and I need some pots because we're about to do something with these pots. I need these pots because I'm getting ready to start a business. What if the first sale she had to work on was selling the fact that she was getting ready to start a business, and she had to convince her neighbors to support her in her business by giving to her business? Honestly, that's a sale. Selling for a profit is a biblical principle. She had to convince them to support her business. We don't know exactly what she said, but they gave her the pots. They gave her the big vases. They gave her the big faces, and all she had was a little jar of oil. Well, when she got ready to pour, and the sons got ready to pour, there was enough oil to fill every container that she got from her neighbors. She had to go door to door. Look, Ebony Ford. Hey, Ebony, what's up? What's up, Miss Ford? She said, I have something to work with. Iceland said, I have something to work with. See, y'all are making the affirmations right now. I got something to work with. I got something to work with. Okay. Hey, look, yes. Single mama pushing Oprah didn't come. Oprah didn't become Oprah until she was laid off. You said a whole lot right there. Ebony said she had to go door to door. That's another thing. See, y'all are putting what stood out to y'all. I love that. I love when y'all talk back to me. So Ebony said she had to go door to door. Yes, she did. She had to go door to door. She had to go door to door. And she actually had, thank you, God. She had to go door to door and convince these people that she needed their jars, and they were going to give her the jars for something they hadn't seen. They didn't see a business. She didn't have a business. It reminds me of when I actually hosted the first ever Attract Abundance conference a few months ago. And I was getting sponsors. I had people buying ads to be in the book for a conference that had never taken place before. Frost Bank decided to become a sponsor for the conference that had never happened before. I had people like Dr. Cosette White come from California to come speak, and she was my first paid sponsor for a conference that didn't even have a track record. Now, I had a track record, but the conference hadn't had a track record because there had never, ever been an Attract Abundance conference before. So just like the woman who needed to pay off the debts, just like the woman who went to the prophet and said, Lord, man of God, you're going to have to tell me what to do. She went door to door and she asked again and again and again and again. Now, what the verse doesn't say is that everybody she asked said yes. The verse doesn't say that everybody she asked said yes. The verse also doesn't say that everybody that she asked said no either. We don't know how many yeses and nos she got. We just know she came back to Elijah and was like, look, we did what you said. And the oil was multiplied and it just kept running over and over and over and over and over. The oil didn't stop running over until every container was filled. So she had a jar of oil and that oil was multiplied again and again and again, but it didn't stop running until there were no more jars. So think about it. What if she got the first two jars, not the first two jars, the first two vases easily? Maybe the first two neighbors said yes. And then the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, 10th, 11, 12, maybe all of them said no. And it wasn't until she got to number 13 that she got another yes. But what if she stopped with just the two? Then the miracle would have only worked with just the two. Let me go back. What if she had stopped with just the two? What if she had stopped with just the two? Every time she filled a jar, she said, wait a minute, this is working. Bring me another jar. Bring me another jar. Bring me another jar. And her sons kept bringing her another jar. And no matter how many jars they brought to her, there was always more oil. And so the oil didn't stop flowing until there were no more jars. The oil kept flowing until there were no more jars, until there were no more vases. When are you going to stop asking for what you need in order for you to get what you need? Let me ask you this way. So let's say if you have the jars, she really didn't know how this was going to work out. She was just being obedient. So let's say you have the jars and you're like, well, I got 3. That's enough. I don't think she just had 3 jars. I think they got as many jars as they could possibly get. Maybe you asked a few people last year to work with you in your business and they told you no. They gave you a delayed yes. They said no, not yet. And so you stopped, you got discouraged. But if you stop too soon, then the oil, when the oil starts flowing, it's going to stop flowing based on your capacity to receive more oil. They didn't have any more jars. So guess what? The capacity, they reached their capacity. They reached their capacity. So guess what? You actually have a lot more control over the oil continuing to flow. You got to make room for the oil that you want. See, at the Attract Abundance Conference, I taught my Attract Abundance framework. I taught my leads framework. I taught my sales framework. I talked about how to retire wealthy, how to retire with dignity, what to do with your 401k, $1 million babies. I did all of that. Yes, new niece did drive. She drove 7 hours for the conference, and she said it was amazing. Yeah, I spoke about all of that. All of that happened at the Attract Abundance Conference. But we had to make room for all of that to happen. What do you need to make room for? If you want more oil, you got to make room for it. I was speaking to the ladies of the Girl Possess It virtual experience. There was an event that I was asked to speak on this week. It was hosted by Dr. Tashana Burrell, and she asked me to be an overflow speaker. And so I was an overflow speaker, and I shared with them. I was like, look, God convicted me in the last quarter. He said, get rid of all that old stuff. Get rid of all that old stuff so you can make room for the new stuff. I need you to make room for the new. Like you want X, Y, and Z, but you haven't made room to receive it. Tonight, I'm speaking about selling for a profit is a biblical principle. Let me go to the selling part. Let me go to the selling part because there's so much to unpack in the story, y'all. So let me go to the selling part. So we're going to go to the last part of that story, right? So the last part of that story in verse 7, it says, she went and told the man of God what happened. She said, look, bro, I did what you told me to do, and we have so much oil. What do we do now? And he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts. You and your son can live on what is left. He said, guess what? Now you got enough oil to where you could pay off your debts, because you're supposed to be a lender, not a borrower. Now you have the oil, and it is your assignment to sell that oil. Because when you sell the oil, you can get out of debt. When you sell the oil, you can reach your financial goals. When you sell the oil, you don't have to worry about the man coming to take your kids. When you sell the oil, you don't have to worry about the fact that you're a widow and wonder where your money is going to come from. Unfortunately, she didn't have life insurance, I guess. That's why life insurance is a biblical principle. I guess that's going to be one of the topics on my live challenge. Life insurance is a biblical principle. For those of you who don't know, I am a licensed life insurance agent. Let me go ahead and put that in right now. I think right now is a good time to plug that in. So if you do know you need more life insurance, then you can go to the link that's going across the bottom of the screen, and I will be able to help you find a policy that fits your needs as well as your budget. I'm a broker. I work with several different companies, and I write life insurance policies and applications any day of the week that the Lord tells me to. Okay. That my former business coach said, when do you want to get paid? Well, those are the days you should work. You should work any day you want to get paid. How often should you work in your business? However often you want to get paid. Okay. So I do have my calendar shut off for Sundays, but for whatever reason, if there's like an emergency or something, and I just need to do something quick, like I don't mind doing it because this is the Lord's work. The reason I know this is the Lord's work is because even this morning, I had a client reach out to me, and she shared with me that her husband did not make it to 2025. And she's devastated. She has to push through. His funeral is tomorrow. And I was like, please let me know if there's anything I can do. Like I could send food, I could send flowers. But you know what I was able to do? I was able to call the insurance company that her husband's policy was with and tell them, look, Mr. So-and-so is not here anymore. Cut this wife a check so that if she needs to take some time off work to grieve, she's able to do that. That's doing the Lord's work. So I love the work that I do. But let me go back to the last part of that verse, right? So the last part of that verse says, he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts. You want to be debt free? You want to become debt free? You want to pay back some people you owe money to? Guess what? Go sell some things. Go sell the thing that you have that God gave you. What is your oil? What is your oil? Your oil may not be oil. Your oil may be something else, but I'm just calling it oil as a metaphor. But what is your oil? What is in your house? What is in your CRM? For those of you who know what that is, your customer relationship management tool. Who is in your list? Who is on your list? Who is in your system? Who is in your system that's waiting to be converted? They're just waiting for you to reach out. Y'all, I'm not going to say her name, but there's a woman who watched my live last night. And it's so funny because she liked my story. She liked the picture. And when she liked my picture, I reached out to her and I was like, so are you still licensed? And if you are still licensed, are you looking for a place to park your license? Are you looking for a new home for your life insurance license? And she said, Yes, I am. Well, I talked to her tonight and she said, I was watching your live last night and I said, it's time for me to get back into the life insurance industry. But God, whoever reach out to me first is who I'm going to go with. I had no idea she had that prayer. None. None. I honestly had no idea that she even watched my live because she didn't like the video and she didn't comment. But I just so happened to reach out to her and send her a message, and she's ready. She's so ready. I mean, with her tomorrow. She's so ready. She just so happened to be in the same city I'm in right now. We meeting up tomorrow. What do you have in your house? That's what he asked her first. What do you have in your house? What do you have in your house? It's not about what you don't have. It's about what you do have. Stop focusing on what you don't have. I can tell you one thing I don't have. I don't have a lot of height. I don't have a lot of height. People meet me in person. One of my top tier clients, like he up there, y'all. He up there. I met him in person for the first time, like as soon as I came to Memphis in December 21st. I met him in person for the first time. He said, "Now, Terry," I already knew what he was about to say. He was like, "Now, Terry, I feel like you tricked me." I was like, "What do you mean?" He was like, "I didn't know you were this short." I said, "I know. I know. I hear it all the time. But the truth of the matter is, it doesn't matter that I'm not tall. I don't focus on the fact that I'll never be a WNBA player, NBA player. No, I'm not tall enough. My body type is not the ideal body type to be a high-end fashion model. I don't have that. I will never have that. I've never been shaped like that. I've never been tall and slim. But I'm not going to focus on what I don't have. I don't have the height. But I am going to focus on what I do have. I got the voice. I got the knowledge. I know how to sell. I'm a great teacher. I'm a coach. I have a license. I'm a licensed professional. I help people set up retirement plans. I'm going to focus on what I have. I have a license. I have a degree in education. I have experience being a principal. I have an experience leading teams. I have an experience being an instructional coach. I have an experience being an on-the-job training coach for a bank. Yeah, before I moved to Texas, I used to work for the bank. See, I focus on what I have. I focus on what I have. You need to focus on what do you have. What do you have in your house? Look, Nuni said, "Oh, they're not the height." I have to give you something you won't. You won't forget. You will not forget. And I wanted to show you, like, there are just some things in life you just cannot control. Some things you can't control. There's no point in me waddling in my being in my feelings because I'm not tall. For what? I need to focus on everything else that I am, everything else that I have. The first sin was not a murder. It was not someone stealing something. No, the first sin was focusing on lack instead of focusing on abundance. That was the first sin. Adam and Eve, all they had to do was just get it on. That's all they had to do. Be fruitful and multiply. Y'all, they messed it up. I still don't know how they messed it up, but they did because they focused on what they didn't have access to. They focused on the one thing that God said, "No, you can't have this, but you have access to everything else." Why didn't they focus on everything else? You should focus on what is your everything else that you need to be focusing on. What is in your house? What is your oil? Right? Who is it that you need to talk to help you support your vision, support this next level of business that you may have not gone to before? I'm not just speaking from the Bible, I'm speaking from experience. I just told y'all I had a stellar Attract Abundance conference. Like, it was amazing, okay? Especially for it to be my first one. And I, like the woman with the oil, I actually knew I couldn't do it by myself. I had to go to some people and say, "Well, this is what I would like to do. I would like for someone to talk about trust. So I need an estate planning attorney to speak about trust at the Attract Abundance Conference. So I found an attorney that said yes to being a sponsor so that she can give and pour into the women and the few men that were in the room to speak about trust. That's not my area of expertise, but that's her area of expertise. So who do you need to go to help you make a better profit, right? Because we talking about selling for a profit. We ain't just selling just to sell, just to be cute. We don't want to have a business just to say we got business. Like, what? Leave that in 2024. Leave not having a profitable business in 2024, a sustainable business. Leave that in 2024 because it's decent and in order for you to make a profit from selling your oil. And the end of that verse says, not only was the woman able to pay off her debt, but her sons and herself, they both were able to live off the rest of the oil. Like, she was able to make money for the rest of her life based on her being obedient. Based on her being obedient. There was enough oil in all the vases to where she paid off her debt and she had some. That is what I call abundance. Hey, Jasmine, good evening. She said, baby, I just talked about this on my TikTok live tonight. Those $1 million baby plans. Look, the $1 million baby plans are so high. I became a $1 million baby. Yes, Lord, speak. God moves swiftly. He does. He does. He does. But we need to move swiftly too, though. Like, it's time out for praying and saying we're going to pray about it when we already prayed about it. And then God will send a man of God or a woman of God to confirm what he already told us, what he already showed us in a dream, what he already told us in the shower, what he already told us when we were listening to the podcast on the road trip. And then we keep saying, well, I got to pray some more. No, move. 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 What did the woman do? She moved. She was obedient. But she wasn't just obedient by herself. Like, she involved her children in it. That's a whole nother part. Like, it's so much to unpack in this story. And I have a private event going on tomorrow I got to get ready for. So I'm going to wrap up with this because I love the babies. I always love the babies. I want you to think about not just making enough money for today. I want you to think about making enough money so that you can build generational wealth. It's time out for having generational wealth as a hot topic, as buzz terminology, but we're not doing the right things to make sure that our children and our children's children have a great inheritance. It's time out for us to have money as such a taboo topic to where our children don't understand the basic concepts of having of being financially astute. Like, they should understand the value of a dollar. They should understand how to get it, how to save it, how to grow it, and how to sow it. Our children should know that. Our children should learn that. When I was a little girl, I remember my mom used to give my sister and I like money so that when the collection plate came by at church, like, we put it in the basket. And it got to the point to where we looked for her to give us $1 or whatever it was when we were, I'm talking about little. I'm talking about like 5. I can remember holding my hand out so she can give me the money so I can put it in the basket. I learned very early on about sewing, right? We should be teaching our children early. Because here's the other part I don't want y'all to miss. What if the mother grows old and she never marries again? Because her sons were there in the beginning and they saw how she went from having just a little bit of oil to an abundance of oil. Do y'all know that they saw that oil as sacred? Can y'all believe that they probably looked at that oil and said, you know what, we're going to tell our children and our grandchildren about this oil? And they too learned how to build a business as their mom was learning how to build a business. So if something happened to where she couldn't work the business, guess what? The sons were able to pick it up. The sons were able to live off the oil. But instead of them squandering the oil because they didn't have to work for it, they said, this oil is precious. This oil is sacred. This oil saved our lives. Because if we didn't have this oil, the creditor would have taken us away from our mom after our daddy died. If you are tuning in late, go back and do your homework. Go back and watch the video from the beginning. I'm talking about the story in 2 Kings in the Bible, chapter 4. Go back and watch it. I mean, go back and read it. I say watch it. Because I do really see, like, as I'm reading biblical stories, I see them like a movie in my head. Oh, hey, Shauna. Shauna said true. Will. Yes. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Selling for a profit is a biblical principle. Yes, to whom much is given, much is required. But you got gifts, you got talents, you got services. And if you are in debt and you are ready to get out of debt in 2025, go sell something. Stop thinking selling is bad. Stop convincing yourself that selling makes you look desperate. No, like, you're supposed to sell. I said last night, having a business and being an entrepreneur is about selling. It's about solving a problem for a profit. But if you do not make an offer, if you do not ask for the sale, you're going to leave that person where they are. So I am going to sell. If you come across my path and I feel like you need something I have, I'm going to tell you. Now, you don't have to take it, but I did my part in planting that seed. And for those of you who watched me last night, you understand that 2025 is about harvest time. It's time to harvest the good things that we have sown, like they've grown, and it's harvest time. So sometimes when you're out there and you are telling people about what you are doing and you're making an offer for them to go to their next level of deliverance or whatever it is that they need, right? They may need to be delivered from having to comb their hair every day, right? Last year I had braids more than anything. I like changing my hair a lot, but last year I had braids more than anything because I didn't have time to be worried about combing my hair every day. So Awa, that's her name, Awa, braids my hair. And I'm glad that she told me that she braids hair. And I didn't just decide to get my hair braided by Awa when Christian said, Terry, I love your braids. Who does your braids? I said, Awa. So I sent her a referral. But if Awa never let me know that she braided hair, she wouldn't have my business. She got my business. And she helped me. And she made a profit. And she helps me every time. Because I don't want to comb my hair every day. I don't have time for that. Not every day. I'm talking about I'm talking about their hair. Oh my, it's late, y'all. I get goofy at night. I get goofy when it gets late. So I'm gonna wrap this up. I hope this video has been beneficial to you. If you found this to be inspirational, type inspirational in the comment section. If you found it to be motivational, put motivational in the comment section. If you found it to be educational, put educational in the comment section. I really wanted to make sure that I shed some light on selling for a profit. Like, not selling just to sell something, but selling for a profit so that you can go to your next level of financial abundance and financial freedom. Okay. All right. And sell for a profit. All right. So I am going to wrap this up. If you are interested in meeting with me, you can go to the link that's going across the bottom of the screen. This is day 2 of my 21-day live challenge. And just based on the results and y'all, giving me feedback, I think I'm gonna kind of stick with these biblical principles for these 21 days, because y'all seem to be getting a lot out of it. Miss June, you watch. See, y'all just be watching, and I don't know who be watching, but I know it's some people watching, because like I said, last night's video got 500 views, and I'm like, who are the 500 watching me? Miss June, thank you so much for commenting that it was educational and motivational. Motivational. I can vouch. Yeah, you can. Thank you, Nunice. Thank you for driving 7 hours to come to the Attract Abundance Conference, even though the Attract Abundance Conference that happened in October was the very first one. See, it takes people like that. It takes people like that to help you see that, you know what? I got neighbors that will give me jars. And because I got neighbors that will give me jars, I know I got some oil that's going to last me. It's going to last me. It ain't going to run out. It's not going to run out. It's not going to run out. Life changing, so much love at that conference. Thank you. We're doing it again in October. October 23rd through the 25th will be the second Attract Abundance Conference. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We'll start opening up the tickets again for tickets to be purchased in May. We'll have our lineup secured. If you're interested in becoming a sponsor for the Attract Abundance Conference, just type the word sponsor, or you can actually send me a DM and I'll tell you what the sponsorship packages look like for our second Attract Abundance Conference, because we're going to a whole nother level. This first one was amazing. The second one, we're building on top of the abundance that we were able to attract and receive and share and spread at the first one. So again, thank you so much for watching this live. Feel free to share this video. If you have questions and you don't know how to reach out to me, send me a DM. That's the quickest way. The quickest way for you to get in touch with me, for sure. All right. Thank y'all so much. I hope y'all have an amazing evening, and I will see y'all again tomorrow. Adios. Good night.